I don't know about you, but I'm wore out. You know, originally when we heard about this reunion and some of the things that played out during the reunion, we heard that there were a lot of tears. It felt like therapy, and I was just like, ugh. Even at the end of this reunion, Andy said this is the worst. Well, not the worst. He said it was like the most that they've ever used Kleenex at a reunion, and I was like, really? So I'm thinking based off the edit, they cut out a lot of emotional things. We did see quite a few people shed some tears, but it wasn't the cry fest that I thought it was going to be. I feel like just at was it last season? Yeah, last season's reunion, Kyle must have used a whole box on her own tears of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion. So I don't know if I believe any of that, but you never know. You never know. We don't know what was cut out from this reunion. But a lot of people have had reactions since last week's reunion and Ubah's reaction at the reunion because it seems so out of place. Well, Ubah's addressing that on social media specifically to Tamra Judge.
Lies! The lies!
We have a lot to unpack, guys, but don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to vote in our live chat poll on YouTube. For those that are watching on Facebook, don't forget to like there. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to like us on TheKempire and Kempire Daily on Facebook. And if you're watching on Twitch or Twitter, hey, don't forget to follow us there as well. Let us know where you're watching from. Let's get into this recap of the Real Housewives of New York City, Season 14, Reunion, Part 2.
Baby, won't you listen to me? I got that flavor. I know you're dying to feed. I ain't no dancer, just got some hip in my feet. Now throw your hands up. Ooh, you bring the lighter. I got the fuse. You make a fire. I'll add the fuel. Follow me, lead it. Just watch the shoes. Gotta turn the heat up to get this cool.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel because it is a subscribers only live chat, and don't forget to turn on your notification bell so you don't miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So over the weekend, we had a couple of different stories that we covered, including Phaedra and her lies, Kim and Croy and their another lawsuit, Shannon Bedore and her DUI charges. We also covered the passing of Matthew Perry, you know, the star of Friends, passing away over the weekend. So be sure to check out all of the stories that you may have missed over the weekend. We also had our Love and Marriage Huntsville recap as well. Be sure to check that out. Okay, where do I even begin with this episode? All right, well, first of all, Halloween. What is Halloween like tomorrow? So let's get into our little Halloween decor. Why is this not working? Oh, there we go. Look, there we go, our Halloween decor. All right, just a little something. Just a little something to, I don't like Halloween. I'm waiting for Christmas to begin, okay? So we can start playing some Christmas music, but I might play some Christmas music during this recap, all right? Anyways, okay, I guess we will stick with this. All right, we'll stick with this. All right, you know what? Let me, so that's not juking me in the eye. All right, live show. All right, so here are the things that, so at the top of this reunion, we are catching up from the issues with Jessel and Erin and Sai. Now I'm kind of looking at the whole reunion and I'm thinking to myself, did they get the seating right? And I'm going to ask you guys that question. Do you believe that they got the seating right based off of watching the entire reunion and the issues that were displayed? Erin definitely earned her seat right there because everyone had an issue with Erin. Everyone had an issue. I wouldn't say that Jessel didn't deserve that seat next to Andy, but at the same time, I'm like, but it's not, I don't know if it would have made sense to have Sai there because it just would have been kind of weird with the arguments and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You guys will let me know in the live chat if you feel as if they got the seating right. I felt like it was okay. I feel like it was okay. You know, a good neutral would be putting Jenna next to Andy. I'm still surprised that Jenna wasn't. I also don't see them putting Jenna on the last seat. I know some of you are thinking, what does it matter? Trust and believe. For the Housewives, it matters. The more I see some of this stuff play out, everything that Bethany has been accusing the network of and Real Housewives and Andy Cohen of, you really start to see it a little bit more clearly. You're like, oh my God, is this, are we in a cult? I'll let you know at BravoCon. All right. It's BravoCon week, y'all. Oh, Lord. Stay tuned. Shout out to the members. You guys will get an inside look into BravoCon while I'm there. My point of view, my perspective, things I'm seeing and hearing, you will get the inside. Become a member today at TheKempire.com/join. All right? So at the top of this, so Jessel still has her issues with both Erin and Sai, and she kept on saying that they insinuated that Pavit might be cheating. They were, breaking down her marriage. And one of the people that tweeted Andy had a really solid point. What's the difference between how Erin felt Brynn was imposing on her marriage and talking about her marriage and talking about divorce? How is that different than what Erin was doing with the whole Pavit situation? It was a good perspective. And she was like, you know what? It's not that much different. But were Sai and Erin insinuating that Pavit was cheating? Did they explicitly say it? No, they didn't. But we all read between the lines. They were insinuating something. Here's the thing. Look, because I'm wearing my twerking on a fence shirt perfectly. Because here's the thing. The way that Jessel described what Pavit was doing, I think, especially if you travel enough, if you can afford to travel, something that Pavit is doing, it seems so like, oh yes. Even Jenna, who is in these circles, she travels a lot. She makes a certain level of money. She doesn't travel coach. We have to keep in mind, and this is important, and I have to check myself sometimes as well because I do travel as well. And I said this during the whole situation with Pavit traveling. I was like, Pavit, tell us your ways. And he did. He did drop his video. And we talked about this on one of the Tuesday takeovers, that he did show us his street food vlog of going to Vietnam. But traveling for miles, we say it like, oh, everyone should know this. No. But I love us talking about it because people that don't travel like that will get to know us, will start to research, will follow people that talk about this stuff. But I wish someone would have said, we are all talking from a place of privilege, that we are able to travel, that we are in those type of circles. And I'm not saying that Erin or Sai are even like that because they're assuming like, why is he traveling to Vietnam for 24 hours? And I need us to stop being so holier than thou, as if someone just put out a blanket statement and was like, yeah, my husband's going to Vietnam for 24 hours for a sandwich. How does that sound to you guys? And in your real life, sometimes we have to take what's happening on these shows, an edited show where context is edited out, and a lot of the context these ladies are not seeing until the show airs, and the context is created for the viewers. I think it's important for us to be like, if someone in your real life came to you and said, my husband's going to Vietnam for 24 hours for miles, especially if we're talking to someone that doesn't travel a lot, isn't of someone that thinks like this. I'm just want to point that out. You might go like, But I will say, Sai and Erin, although you didn't explicitly say that he might be cheating, you definitely insinuated it was strange and that something might be going on. All right? When Jessel was asked whether or not she had told the ladies about her postpartum and things like that, she had said, yes, I did. And she was like, no, you did not. We didn't know about how you were feeling until the confessionals and things like that. Here's the thing, though, y'all. And yes, we as an audience saw the confessionals and sort of got an idea. But a lot of you that have, and all these women on this cast, except Brynn and Sai, Sai, Brynn and Ubah are not mothers. I think based off of her talking about her journey with IVF and how excruciating it was, people would have been like, maybe it's postpartum. I think I even said that during our recap without even getting the confessional context. I was like, it sounds like she might have had some postpartum. I don't know. I'm not a woman. I've never been through it, but we cover a lot of women issues here on the channel. So I kind of was like, well, maybe. And I've heard from other women in countless situations like this, where after an IVF treatment that isn't successful, like that your hormones are being messed with. That alone should have been context enough for these women to give Jessel some grace. And they didn't. They wanted to use, the confessionals, we didn't see your confession. No, you could have based off of what she presented to you because you did know about her IVF treatments and how long of a journey that was. You could have given her grace from there. I am really twerking on the fence because I know you all are listening like, so who is he? Whose side is he on? Myself. Team Kemp. Look, Team Kemp. It says Team Kempire in the back. Myself, as you should be too, because we don't know these people. I need to put that on a shirt too. Team Kempire, because we don't know these people in the back. That's kind of long. Twerking on the fence is perfect. Twerking on the fence, House of Kempire. There we go. Anyways, so they seem to be in a better place because what we find out later is that Sai and Jessel are in a better place. They have been hanging out. They're good. But it's the reunion, so they're rehashing a lot of this stuff, so they have to feel this way. All right? They also bring up the whole term cackling hags, and we got a mixed response to that. Jenna says that, her father was British, so he would say it all the time. And then some other people like, well, again, no, Gideon's British and he's never heard of anything like that. Look, we all know when Jessel called them cackling hags, she did not mean it as a compliment. Period. All right? She did not mean it as a compliment. She meant it as something derogatory and insulting. The level of derogatory and insulting will vary. Okay. All right. Jenna does say that she was happy when Erin and Sai defended her about Jessel's response to this. It seems so long ago, this episode, when they went to the Hamptons and she's like, I look like a Christmas tree. I have to say, her coming down and stomping in that lingerie still makes me kiki to myself. Still. It still does. It was funny. It was definitely funny. So they get into Jessel and Sai's issues in regards to Jessel constantly comparing her life and how she grew up to theirs, and specifically Sai's. So here's the thing. Someone brought up in regards to Jessel living off her savings at 20 years old. So like, so you did come from a level of privilege. I don't know what level of privilege. Everyone's level of privilege is going to be different. Do I think that Jessel probably did a lot better than Sai? Yes. And I think for Sai, you comparing your life to my life is very different. Because I agree with Sai. Even if this was like 20 years ago, to live here in New York City off your savings, you had to have a good little bit of a coin. But I'm not going to sit here and act as if Jessel is rich either. But I can also understand, and I love the fact that Ubah brought up in African culture, and Brynn, at the end of this episode, where Brynn was just like, stop bringing another continent into this. Brynn, there goes your ignorance. Because it is important, and something that we haven't really talked about or referenced, how for Ubah, where English is not her first language, and she's also African, which is a different culture, that we have to keep in perspective, that they think differently. And I love the fact that Ubah, who now I understand a little bit more after watching the entire reunion, why she probably felt so hurt by the women, was because we literally saw Ubah defend Jessel. We saw Ubah defend Brynn. We saw her defending a lot of these ladies, and she felt like they weren't defending her. Back to this. So Ubah says, in African culture, an uncle or auntie really feels like your mother or father. And I was like, oh, you know what? I've really never thought about that. Because we're thinking from our American culture. And both should be respected, but I can get where in other cultures, your uncle could be very much like your father. But for Sai, another element that we didn't realize, Sai's mother died 5 months before filming. Sai opens up about how, and Sai, this is why I feel like everyone brought it this season, especially Brynn and Sai. We really got into their stories. Sai opens up about her struggles with her mom. Her mom apparently had mental health issues and mental illness, and she used alcohol to treat it. And she talked about how she always tried to save her mom. You know, she got a little bit of money. She was like, maybe I can help her. And she even lived with Sai for a period of time. But her husband Dave was like, she's getting drunk in front of the children. It's not healthy for them. And they had to kick her out. So she was literally still 5 months 5 months right before filming, still dealing, literally in the middle of filming, still after filming, feeling guilty about kicking her mom out. She's like, am I the reason why she died? I can't even imagine. And I know some people just do not like Sai because of the way that Sai treated Jessel. I feel like we need to take everything that Sai gave us this season and keep that in mind, especially because she gave such personal story. And I think we got lost in the muddle of their petty fighting. And I feel like next season, I want to see more of their personal stories and and then them come together and then see their work stuff. You know what I mean? All right. So Ubah defends Jessel in that regard, but the big issue between Jessel and Sai is that they feel like their communication, their understanding of each other just was lost. Sai didn't like the comparison of how they grew up to each other in their conversation. I think Jessel is just awkward in certain ways. Remember that scene when Jessel goes over Sai's house and she's talking to Aaron. Aaron just lost one of her relatives, her grandmother, I believe. And Jessel can be awkward, very much like Pavit. Pavit's a lot more awkward. Some people are just like that. Don't change, Jessel. I mean, learn and grow, and don't do it for camera's sake. But you know what I mean? So, yeah. Let's move on from there. Guys, if you're just joining us, we're talking about The Real Housewives of New York City, Season 14, Reunion Part 2. It's over. We got 16 episodes. 16. All right. I want to see if there's anything else. Oh, okay. We talked a little bit about that. Jessel did mention that Pavit was going to drop his Vietnam street food vlog. He did. We did talk about it and showed it to you guys both on short form and on long form. Pavit from The Real Housewives of New York is giving us the inside of his Vietnam trip that was so talked about during this season. So if you've been watching the RHONY reboot, then you know the biggest story for Erin and Sai was, why is Pavit going to Vietnam for 24 hours for a sandwich? We knew, if you're a traveler, no, what he needs to tell us his ways. How many points are you getting? How are you doing this? And how can we be like you? So he's decided to share those details.
The much anticipated Vietnam trip recap is here. Just like Jessel, I kept notes. The trip in question starts with Cathay Pacific First Class, kicking off with a quick swig or four of Krug champagne and caviar served with a mother of pearl spoon. You definitely won't find any Pringles here. Dinner starts with a soup starter, main course, and a cheese plate to finish, since we all love cheese so much, right? Champagne nightcap before I sleep. Let's keep this one-man party going as long as I can. It's free. Landing in Vietnam, I'm going to eat as much as I can. And yes, I'm talking about food, people. There's nothing else going on here. I only have about 30 hours, so I'm going to start with 2 banh mi's from stop number 1. The first is a traditional mixed meat banh mi, and the second is pork meatballs. NYC just can't touch this. It is so good. Vietnam and Saigon in general is a street food capital, and I love exploring. So stop 2 was a random find serving Boon Tit Noon, which is a vermicelli noodles served with barbecue pork patties, spring roll, and a sweet and sour fish sauce. Absolutely amazing. Stop 3 is what I think is a much better but lesser known version of pho, Moon Boy, which is a spicy beef and pork noodle soup. Stop 4 was tableside Vietnamese barbecue with goat testicles on the menu for the adventurous. I'm not sure it actually tastes better than it looks. Stop 5 was fresh seafood, including crabs and scallops, and another adventurous dish, baby duck eggs. And yes, this one probably does taste better than it looks. The next morning, before I fly back, 2 more meals. The first is com tom, which is broken rice served with pork chop and fried egg, and of course, Vietnamese iced coffee. But saving the best for last, which I think is the best banh mi in Saigon, banh mi hun hoa. This thing was massive. The return journey is again in Cathay first, but this time I'm sleeping the entire way home. I ate enough for a week in one day. All the restaurants are listed below. One last thought. Love me, hate me, but don't bond me.
Great and entertaining. He's very funny. He's very funny. I also saw that he was going to do something with the points guy. He may have done it already. Okay, all right, Pavit. What does Pavit do for a living, though? I can't remember now. Live chat, those of you in the replay crew, what does he do for a living? He might have a second career as a points guy. I thought it was really cool. The points guy is huge. So when I saw this, I was like, but we also have to keep in mind, shout out to Jessel. I see Jessel, she's been doing her PR game. She was in Rolling Stones. We didn't get a chance to talk about that. Congrats. She if anything, Jessel's good at her job. I want to see Jessel next season more of her work life, because if she's able to do what she's doing now, I want to see Mama at work. We got to see a little bit of this at the end of the season, but I want to see Jessel at work. I want to see all of them at work. Look, and then they come together, have a drink, have some little, and then they go and party hard, and then they work as hard as they party hard. I want to see all of that, and I want to see a fun girls trip. Speaking of girls trip, Andy did, during this reunion, announce that we should be expecting the Real Housewives of New York Legacy Ultimate Girls Trip season on Peacock very soon. They still have not given us a date. All right, come on now. I mean, we have a lot to keep up with these next few weeks. We have Real Housewives of Miami. We have Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We have Real Housewives of Potomac. We have Married to Medicine. It's busy this season. It's a very busy season. So stay tuned for our recaps. As you know, it is BravoCon week, so some of that stuff will be slowly coming. And then we have the holidays. We literally have the holidays. And you know, I'm booked and busy around the holidays. When I say booked and busy, I mean I'm busy, like Pavit, trying to get some miles. All right? Anyways. All right, Sai's package. So I didn't even realize Sai is definitely on an apology tour. I saw Sai on Ubah's Instagram Live last week. You guys are dragging her in the comment section. She's like, whatever, you guys hate me, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's also that very New York attitude. I don't care, you hate me, whatever. But I don't hate Sai. She shares her personal story with her mom and how her mom suffered, and you know how her mom lived with her, and then 3 months later, after her mom moved out, passed away. She also talked about how at one point her mom was living in an assisted living facility, and she got kicked out of that, so that's how she ended up with her. She shared a lot. I really did feel for Sai in this moment of being vulnerable, because she doesn't want to be vulnerable in front of these women, because we have to keep in mind they're friendly. I don't think that they're real friends. They might be more associates and coworkers than anything. I know that they do try and hang out and do all the things on social media, but I also don't think that they're real friends in real life. You know what I mean? So to be vulnerable about her mom's story after she's really sort of built up a wall around herself all these years is hard. But I have to say, she did give it to us this season. So she does open up about her mom. And again, I wanted to ask this question of her, and I think I did in the live chat on Ubah's Instagram Live. I want to know if she's going to do more with her mom's artwork. I think she should. The artwork that we saw in that book was beautiful. I know not everything is made for public consumption, but I was just like, your mom was, you know what they say, there's a thin line, especially for creatives, between super creative and like, you know, just not, you're like, oh, like the kids are like, you know, grandma's a little strange. Grandma's a little weird. Creatives. Like she probably was like a genius and couldn't deal with the level of genius that was in her body. I believe in that. I'd like to see her artwork, though. I would love to. Okay, I'm going to give you an idea. Sai, next season, maybe. Look, maybe. Look. Let's produce a moment. Guys. Sai, so for next pull up. For next season, I think you should get all of your mom's artwork blown up, and I think you should do a show. And it should be filmed. I mean, not everything for public consumption, but I think we should see it. I don't think you should do it and it not be seen. You know what I mean? So get all of this artwork blown up and do a whole party where people are able to see, oh, look, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. What is wrong with me? Right? Good idea, right? Just call me to produce. No, I'm playing. I don't want to produce. I don't want any involvement. Like, this is the most involved I want to get. All right? They're already talking about Real Housewives of New Jersey and all the drama that's happening over there. I know you're probably like, Kempire, how come you haven't talked about it? Because Jersey is so freaking toxic. I don't want to talk about it until it's on air. Thank God they wrapped filming at this point. And sidebar, can we talk about this real quick? I mean, they're just over the bridge. Real Housewives of New Jersey's BravoCon panels are separated. Why are they allowing that? Bravo, why are you allowing that? You're setting up a terrible precedent for all your other shows. Why are we separating the Real Housewives of New Jersey panel? If they can't get it together for a panel, fire them all. They did this last year. This year, they're switching people around. No, everyone should be able to sit on a damn panel, answer some questions. And I hear from the season that they're very divided. Then fire them all. I'm so over New Jersey at this point. Oh. And see. Anyways, guys, back to this. You didn't come here for New Jersey, but it's Real Housewives. It's all related. And like I said, it's right over the bridge. Don't let my New Jersey accent come out. All right. So she shares a lot. Brynn, Sai, that's my idea for you. But they also talk about the backlash that a lot of people were giving people like Sai on the show because, like, oh, we have nothing but influencers. And I'm glad, especially Jenna Lyons, really defining what an influencer is. There are a lot of people calling themselves influencers, and they're not. And I think to myself, I don't really call myself an influencer, but I do have influencer work that I do on social media platforms, like when we have sponsors and things like that. It's not a regular part of what we do here on this channel or on other platforms, but I do have some influencer work. So I have an eye into what Sai is talking about when it comes to deliverables, when you are emailing these sponsors, like, well, this is my idea, this is what I can do. But Sai is on a whole other level when it comes to being an influencer. And we've talked about this already during our recaps about influencers and how I don't understand in today's age why people don't understand that this is a real job. It's not just taking little pretty pictures and things like that. There's even this. I know it seems like I'm just sitting here talking and giving my opinion. There's a lot of prep that goes into doing this. There's also learning and growing involving how you present. But it's not just that. There's also a business aspect of what I'm doing. There's also a promotional aspect. There's a technical aspect, because after we do this, there has to be some, depending on if it's live or if it's not live. And even if it's live, there's a whole technical aspect that's happening here. Lighting, sound machine, computers, everything's working, and not everything works all the time. And you got to on the fly with that. So maybe we need, and look, and they've been saying this before, we need a reality show about influencers or something like that. And we did get a little bit of that. Remember that show? Oh my God, Something in Heels? I can't think of it. You know, Melissa Ford was on it. You guys will remember. It was on Bravo too. And we only got one season. But a lot of people were like, oh my gosh. What's it? Oh my God, Something Sweating Heels. I can't remember. You guys will remind me in the live chat and in the replay crew. Speaking of replay crew, we haven't forgotten about you. Be sure to let us know how you would rate the finale of The Housewives of New York City, Season 14, Reunion Part 2. Be sure to let us know how, last week I said I might forget on how I would rate the season overall based off everything that we saw. What did I give it last week? I can't remember. Something tells me I said 6.5. This week, I probably would give it a 7. After watching everything, I probably would give it a 7, and I might be a little generous by giving it a 7 because I feel like if that girls' trip had been fun and enjoyable to watch, it probably would have gotten a higher score for me. But I feel good that we didn't drag out the rest of this season, that we're done for now. All right? All right. So the side defends, and she talks about exactly what an influencer does and what that. Even Andy was like, oh, I didn't realize that's what you guys, there's additional things that he didn't realize that they do. And Sai is, like I said, she's on a different level. She actually has people that she employs. So I thought that was important for them to cover and bring up. Brynn's package. All right. So Brynn talks about, and Brynn was another person on this show that really gave us a lot of her story. I kind of wish we got to see more of her work stuff, but I think based on what she said during this, because we were calling her Tommy last week because we don't know what she does for a living. Well, she told us what she does for a living. She's a communication something. Look, analyst something. Like I don't know. Like I get that I kind of understand what she does. Look. No, she does something. I think she's just in between jobs right now. I think she was the head. I forgot what she said her role was at that tech company, and she left that as she was in the middle of filming this. So I want to see more of that side of her next season. But she also talks about the way that she grew up. She talked about her Mimi and things like that, and her brother. But she also talked about the last couple of months that she spent with her father. She kept her going upstate to see him every single weekend because when she was told that he was dying, she thought like he was going to die like that week or that day. But no, he lived for a couple of more months, and she spent every weekend with him, and he was very apologetic about everything that he did. So she talked about that. She also talked about growing up in the salon, and Andy talked about how a lot of people had big reactions to her talking about growing up in the black salon. And she said that she identifies herself as being black and apparently half Irish. Come on. Let me tell you something, though. It's so funny because literally on Sunday, I'm going through videos, and there's this video labeled Irishman fights like this other guy. And it was a black guy. And I'm thinking to myself, literally, because I already saw the clip where Brynn says, I'm half black and I'm half Irish. Because there's stereotypes. We're not going to go through the stereotypes. But literally, I'm watching this video of this Irishman punch this man. Because you wouldn't think it, because the Irish guy looked a lot smaller and this black guy was a lot bigger. But the way that he fought this man, I was like, is this what Brandon was talking about? Maybe. Look. Anyways, so she talks about that. And then she also talks about her issues with Sai. And Sai says that, she has zero patience for adults. She says this again. And remember, we unpacked this last week. We're not going to unpack it again. So she says she has a lot of patience for her children. But when it comes to other women, other adults, she doesn't have the patience for it. So, her and Brynn have had their issues. They haven't talked in several months at this point. I wonder where they are right now. I don't know if they're going to be in a better place. Because remember, when we started the season with them being so close. So it's kind of sad that they haven't talked in months. But since I have this up, guys, don't forget, Coldest is a proud sponsor of the channel. For 10% off of your order, ice packs, water bottles, sheets. They have all kinds of pillows. Head on over to coldest.com, but don't forget to use the discount code Kempire10 for 10% off of your order. That's Kempire10 for 10% off. More information will be available in the description. As always, guys, more information is also available in the description on our podcast. A visual version of last week's episode came out over the weekend, so be sure to subscribe to the Kempire Radio YouTube channel as well. All right, and let me know your thoughts, because like I said, I forgot what video I did. Like I said in one of the other videos, I was mentioning to you guys that the visual version, I know you all listen to the audio version, which I add a completely different additional audio only content along with this visual version that comes out. But with the visual version, I added actual concert footage. So I'm working hard over here, y'all. All right, I'm working hard over here, giving you all kinds of different experiences on different platforms. So be sure to subscribe to the Kempire Radio YouTube channel. I think we're almost at 20,000 subscribers. Also this month, Breast Cancer Awareness Month is almost ending, and we're so close. We're so close. I haven't checked yet. You guys will let me know in the chat. We're so close to $2,500 raised for Black Women's Health Imperative. And this month alone, we've already lost quite a few women to breast cancer. So Black Women's Health Imperative is a wonderful organization, and 100% of your donation goes to the organization according to YouTube Giving. So thank you to everyone that has donated this live or donated previously or shared the donation with other family members and friends. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. All right. Happy Halloween. Look, I just want to add that part. Happy Halloween. All right, so Brynn, here's the thing. I really do enjoy Brynn on this show, and I know some people do not like her over sexualized personality. I do believe that there are layers to Brynn. I do believe that she can be smart and serious, but I also believe that she is very much sort of like this bubbly, and she does it because of the way she grew up. I think that's her sort of coping mechanism. We've talked about this during the season. She talks about Gideon, and she says, I've been engaged, and a lot of times when they propose after we've broken up, and I don't like that. She talks about Gideon, and she talks about Gideon's proper penis. Here's the thing. I know, look. He's like, Kempire, can't we have fun anymore? No. Because if it was a man on a reality reunion show talking about someone's private parts, specifically a woman's private parts, we would be like, done with him. I just wanted to point that out. And I'm also wondering if Gideon himself is just like, why are we talking? Even if it's flattering, it's also a little like, what if he's dating or talking to someone else? Like, I don't like the fact that this woman is talking about your private parts, my private parts, on a reality show seen by millions of people. I don't know about anyone else. I cringed a little bit, but I know there's a side of us that's like, oh, why can't we just have fun anymore? Because I thought about Gideon. And I was like, we shouldn't be talking about his private parts on national television. Oh, I wrote it down. She's a communications consultant.
And scene.
Ubah says that Aaron and Brynn's relationship, because they examined Aaron and Brynn's, back and forth relationship during the season. And Ubah's like, your friendship makes me sick. And I know some people were like, this was so out of place. Like, Ubah, you're doing too much. Here's the thing. We have to remember, Ubah and Aaron were friends during the season, like close friends. And I'm sure Aaron, during that close friendship, said a lot that we did not see on camera, especially about Brynn. And I think that's what Ubah's reacting to, the fakeness. I think Ubah was reacting to all of the fakeness that was happening on this cast. Even some things, last week we talked about how she brought up, some of you women didn't want Jenna on the show. They cleaned it up nicely, but I wonder what exactly was said when they were all hanging out and Ubah was there. Oh, the way Ubah read it is like, you guys didn't want her on the show. But I could see why this cast might be a little uncomfortable with Jenna Lyons being on the show. She might outshine us. She might not fit in because she's done all of this. And we are, basically nobodies. Nobody really knows her. I knew Ubah, though. I knew Ubah's face, at the very least. You know what I mean? Like, no, I knew Ubah's name, too. Like, she was the only other recognizable person on this cast that I knew. Some of you knew Sai because of her work on social media. I didn't know Sai. I vaguely remember Jenna because you guys reminded me, like, remember she was on the Wendy Williams show. That's where I remember Jenna from, personally. I'm not a fashionista, so I didn't know about the J. Crew stuff, but I loved Jenna's story. But Jenna wanted to follow up on this because she wanted to know, like, what was this about? And they explain it, all right? But Ubah has a visceral reaction to Brynn and Aaron's friendship. It's just like, you guys are so fake. It makes me sick. And everyone's just like, wait, what? What? Ubah says that Aaron doesn't say the nicest things about Brynn. I believe it. We've seen Aaron. So, of course, Ubah and Aaron's fight from Anguilla. I did not want to relive this, but we had to. And Ubah talks about, Jessel clears up the fact that the phone was missing for more than 45 minutes. Based on what we saw, it was an edited show. So it already felt like, I was like, this was not 45 minutes that this phone was missing. It was definitely missing longer than that. Ubah has already explained that because she's a single woman traveling the world, she has some things that she's already decided with her family that they check in all the time. So a part of her phone missing is her like, I need to check in with my family. A lot of you have said that I kind of understand where she was coming from. Did she overreact and drag it out too long on the Anguilla trip? Some people will agree. Yeah, it was dragged out too long. But Ubah says that she probably it wouldn't have been an issue if Aaron didn't say, oh, keep my name out of your effing mouth. Remember the next day? Remember that the interaction? I didn't like Ubah taking the glasses off of her face, but the way that Aaron was acting, remember I said, I was like, I don't like how Aaron is acting right now in regards to Ubah. It's sort of like the scary, like, oh, woe is me, hey, Karen. It gave that energy. And so they did talk about how Erin saying that this was the worst conflict of her life. And she said, it did feel like the worst conflict. It's not the worst conflict of my life, but it felt like the worst conflict of my life because of how close I was with Ubah. All right. I'll take it. So this turns into Brynn versus Ubah over this lost iPhone because Brynn is just like, well, just find my iPhone. You are assuming a lot. Not everyone has iPhones. Okay? Not everyone has iPhones. I don't know what phones people have. Usually internationally, the Find My iPhone situation is not necessarily going to work. You can share locations on WhatsApp. I don't know how that is over international seas and things like that. But yeah. Regardless, this is how Ubah felt. But this turns into a Brynn and Ubah situation. She's like, everyone over here might be scared of you, Ubah, but I'm not scared of you. All right, you put people in hospitals. I put people in funeral homes. That did not slap the way that people think it was supposed to slap. Andy's Combs like, oh, what's putting someone in a funeral home? You killed some people. Come on. But when Ubah was like, I don't even know what she said. I'm gonna have to have someone Somali in Somali in the chat. Let us know, what did she threaten Brynn with? Because she's like, oh, I do that. I was like, what did she say? She said something about Somali. Let me tell you something. I know a couple of Somali people, and they have jokingly says, I'm Somali. And then we'll say, and I'm like, should I be scared? Jokingly. So when she said it, not jokingly, I was like, oh, okay. Okay. But they quickly get over their issues, but there is some hot, intense moments. I didn't like Ubah saying and using something that's very triggering to Brynn. She says to her that, what did she say to Brynn specifically in regards to, maybe you don't know how to be loved? I was like, okay, let's not go there. But then I felt for Ubah because she felt like no one had her back. She felt like the way that she had Jessel's back, the way she's had Brynn's back. And we've seen it. We've seen her talk about having their back during the season. And even in scenes with the other ladies, she would defend people like Jessel and things like that. She felt alone. And then they brought up that scene where Jenna says that, oh, there's another side to Ubah. At first, I was just like, Ubah, you're doing too much. But then when you watch the scene and then when you hear Jenna say what she said, I can see where Ubah's coming from. Because, hear me out. Calm down, live chat. Calm down, replay crew. This is my review. Everyone has an entitled to their opinion. But hear me out. Look, hear me out. The way that Jenna presented it in her confessional, her intention was to sort of be cheeky with it. But I can understand where Ubah's coming from because now you're trying to paint this black woman as the angry black woman, or there's another side to Ubah. But even when they played that scene in the other episode, I was just sort of like, yeah, it's not another side to Ubah. It was sort of Ubah like, well, if there's going to be cameras here, you need to let me know. I didn't feel like Ubah was nasty, even though we've seen Ubah get Ubah hot. Ubah's coming in hot. Ubah hot during the reunion. But in that scene, what we saw, she was just basically like, if there's going to be cameras here, and maybe you didn't like it, and maybe you were sort of like, you're so used to Ubah being light and fun and things like that. You're not used to Ubah being serious about something, especially when it's work, because this is work. I can see where Ubah was a little offended by the way that Jenna said it in her confessional. There's this other side of Ubah. And even when they showed the scene, they try to make it seem like there is this other side of Ubah. But when I watched the scene, I was like, if y'all think that's Ubah hot, I know some of y'all. or a lot worse when the cameras aren't rolling. You know what I mean? But that's just my perspective. But I don't think this is something that they can get over. It's just different perspectives, different feelings. Do I think that Jenna was trying to set Ubah up? Ubah says no. She doesn't feel like you were trying to set me up. I just didn't like the way you painted it. Like there was this other side. They do talk about the angry black woman syndrome. Sai did not want to address. She said, I'll let Ubah address something like that. Because Ubah did say in that you guys are mixing up me being assertive over, being angry. And I have to say, she was assertive. She wasn't angry in that moment. We've seen her angry in this reunion. And she gets really emotional and she starts crying. She's like, I feel like no one has my back. Look, this is a lot to unpack and to uncover. But I had a lot to say. So they do a little toast at the end. The drinks look good. Did you guys see Brynn's drink? Brynn's drink was like drunk. Okay, I was like, Brynn, sip. Everyone else is still sipping. Hers is like almost done. So they do go around the room of the reunion just to kind of give perspective on what they've learned throughout the season. I have to say Sai's perspective was probably like my favorite of the group in regards to what she gained from this. And she says she gained a lot, especially from this therapy session, therapy that she hasn't had. She got at this reunion. How did you guys feel about the reunion? How did you feel about the season? Do you want to see these women come back in a full capacity the way that they were? I do, and I want to see more of their work life. I do want to see more of, if New York City is the, seventh housewife, I want to see more of that. We got to figure out the chemistry on this girls trip. I don't know why this girls trip to Anguilla was what it was. Do you guys even think that Jenna Lyons is coming back next season? I don't know. And I told you, I'm okay if she doesn't. I feel like, Jenna, you did what you needed to do. But I wouldn't mind it. Look, Jenna's dating someone new. Maybe we'll see Jenna dating. I see Ubah has gone public with her German boyfriend from Connecticut. Here's the thing, and I think we said this before about Ubah and this man. When they started dating, it was very brand new. It's not like this is someone she was keeping a secret from us because she didn't want to share that personal life. It was a very new relationship. Understand, as someone that tells you guys will probably find out I'm married after I've been married for like 2 years. I don't know if I could keep it a secret that long, but still. So I kind of understood that. I saw that the Daily Mail was already sort of blasting out, this is Ubah's boyfriend. I'm glad that we saw officially Ubah's boyfriend. Good for her. Do I want to see her share this man on the show? I mean, if she wants to, because I think it's still a very new relationship. I feel like I'm okay with everyone else sharing their relationships on the show because they're well established. I feel like friendships, that's one big element. And you're going to see this in some new cities that are coming. Friendships, we don't talk about enough how friendships are ruined by reality TV. We always talk about marriages. We don't talk about friendships. Look, so we shall see. We shall see what this new season will look like. BravoCon, as I said to you this week, I'm going to definitely the Real Housewives panels. The only one that I might not go to, I'm not going to tell you. But I'm gonna make sure I go to the panels. And I'm definitely going to the New York panel. I definitely want to go to the Dubai panel, Atlanta panel, of course. But yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned for my coverage of BravoCon. Be sure to follow me on all platforms, guys. Head on over to TheKempire.com for all the links to my social media and merch. Twerking on the Fence merch, y'all. HouseofKempire.com. But as I said before, you can find that at TheKempire.com. Click the shop button. Thank you to our channel members. To become a member of the channel, head on over to TeamKempire.com/join. And of course, thank you to our King's Guards for holding us down in the live chat. And of course, here in the comment section, replay crew, as always, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to let us know your thoughts on the current season of the Real Housewives of New York City. Thank you to all of you for being here. Let's get out of here with some music. This was already a very long recap, but well worth it. How'd you guys feel? Good? Good? All right. I'll see you all in the next recap. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City this week. We also have Real Housewives of Miami premiering this week. And we have the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Lots to cover, so stay tuned.